Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. You walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
train is coming in the station. Get yourself ready. Wake that ass up. That's all I'm going to say. We're not playing with it. This is the beginning of a brand new, unique moment in time. A history-making moment, if you will. And guess what? Yeah, that's right. We're going to make it together. There's a promise somewhere out there. You might have heard about it. It guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together, we've got the same heart set, mindset, that soul set. You know, we're cut from that same bolt of cloth. Can I get an amen? When that happens, ooh-wee, spiritual magic, y'all. And it's happening right now. Listen, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I am so excited to be here for yet another episode of Bathrobe Moments with you. I guess I should have the bathrobe on. That would kind of help. You know what? I am not kidding. I've accepted it. I'm serious. I've accepted my senior moments. I embraced them because then I was like, you know what? What's the big deal? I had junior moments. Sure did. How many times have you walked in a room and went in there and went, what I come here for? Junior moment. I don't care if you're 8 years old. It happens. Listen, welcome to the show. This is my sidekick. She's been here all 6 of these years with us. And what is that? Some cereal or something. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Today's flavor, because you know I always get a bunch of coffees in my stocking at Christmas. Today's is maple syrup. And you know, it's kind of weird because I was like, why would I drink maple syrup? But I'll sure lap some up with a biscuit. Can I get an amen? So, real quick before we get our guest in here. Oh, remember I told you my friend Jen Mitchell told me about this book and I ordered it, and it was creepy because I ordered it at 10 in the morning and it came at 12, like 2 hours later. I was looking outside like, what in the world? Right. So anyway, ask and it is given. Learning to manifest your desires. I started the foreword last night because Dr. Dwayne Dwyer, remember that? Remember him? Yeah. Great book. Wrote that. So I'm getting into it. I'll let you know as I work my way through it. Let me see. What announcements do I have? What night was that? Monday night. Valentin Serban came to the house here. He is our executive producer. He's from Romania. As a matter of fact, he's headed there tomorrow. He is the executive producer for the Legacy of Hope Tour documentary. We're going with the Sailor Brothers, Oscar nominated film directors, and we're so excited. There's a group of 20 of us from my coaching program that will be headed over May 5th through the 12th. We ask for all your prayers, your light, your love, your support as we go over to spread some hope, some love, and just pour into the wonderful people of Romania. If you want to know more about how you could join us on that trip, just get at me. I'll be happy to share all the deets. Okay. More as we get closer, of course. What else? New segment every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in between on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll be reading a couple cards from my wellness library, which my husband, Brian, thank you, Dr. Brian, put in my stocking. So we did that yesterday. So today we have with us, again, a little 1-minute piece of inspiration before we get the incredible Taylor Proctor in here. I'm going to pop him up there. You know, I can't wait till I'm with NBC so I don't have to do all this stuff. There'll be people, right? Excuse me. Best boy. What do best boys do? Never mind. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyway, it is time for a healthy dose of vitamin D Grant. Here he comes. We'll be back after this 1-minute motivation.
Here's a little life lesson for you in the realm of business. What does it mean to be remarkable? Most of us are looking for something that's a little out of the ordinary, a little unusual, and we tend to look outside of ourselves because we don't think that we have it within us to stand apart, to go against the grain. But what if being remarkable is really being fully you? Because you are the only you that there is, and that by itself is uncommon. So if you will allow yourself to be fully you, and to own your voice, and to stand in your power, and just be yourself, regardless of what anybody else thinks, what you will find is the right people will be drawn to you. They will appreciate your light, and they will note that you are truly remarkable. And from that, everyone benefits. So be you, be uncommon, be remarkable.
I know that's right. Be remarkable. You know what I'm saying? Next time somebody asks you, how you doing? Don't you say, I'm good. Say, I'm remarkable, bitch. Right? I'm just kidding. Don't throw the bitch on. Anyway, but listen. Hey, I'm 60 years old. I'll be 61 on the 4th of July, and I'll tell you something that's never happened. I've never opened my front door and saw a line of people waiting to tell me great things about myself. So if you want the line to begin, start at the front of the line with yourself. Be remarkable, won't you? Thank you, D. My boy, Vitamin D Grant. So guess what? Here she comes. She's going to come in here in just a second. Taylor Proctor. Who is she? Well, she's an intuitive, and we're going to talk about this. I want that. The word of the day is intuitive. Intuition, any derivative, any form of the word. That's what we're focusing on. So intuitive business strategist and coach. She uses her skills as a mentor. Now, I don't know what this stands for. CMOCOO. Well, I'm not supposed to know everything, right? And she's a serial entrepreneur. She helps high-performing business owners confidently create the life and business they love. Now, she has a podcast, a whole bunch of other stuff. So those overachievers. I can't read all that. I just can't do it. Too early in the morning, right? No, really, I don't, because I'd rather they tell you, show you, than me trying to do it. Because some things you got to get it from the horse's mouth. So here comes today's illuminated guest, Taylor Proctor. Y'all put your hearts on the screen. It's our virtual way of a standing ovation. So let's get on those feet. Hearts on the screen. Go. I heard a little echo thing. There was some reverb on your stuff today.
Uh-oh.
Hello? No, I mean in the music.
Oh, okay, great. I was like, do I need to run and grab something?
No, not you. How are you, Taylor Proctor?
I am remarkable. Thank you so much.
I know that's right. Let me ask you, right off the rip, Taylor Proctor.
You know it.
You ever gamble?
No, not really. Oh,
Get
well,
it?
I
No.
did one time,
You
but it was
missed
with
it.
somebody else's money, and I just came up to the craps table, and the guy next to me was like, "Here, have like a chip." And I ended up rolling for like 30 minutes, and I made $800 for me with his money and like $12,000 for him.
Are you serious?
And then I was like, "Thank you for letting me play," and gave him back his money. He's like, no, you can keep that. So that's like the only time I've really gambled.
Well, after that, who needs to gamble anymore? Well, that was supposed to be, you took it. You know what you're doing. Because I was going, get it, Procter and Gamble.
Oh, well, no, not that.
See, that's why I don't have NBC yet. I gotta learn. Some lines just don't land, Lord Jesus. Well, listen, I'm really glad you're here, and I want to get started. I have a little clip I want to open with about what is intuition, because that was the thing that drew me to you in the very first place. You don't see a lot of woo-woo words out front leading with them. But the world is catching up.
Definitely.
You guys may have seen on my page, and I've talked about it a couple times on the show since we started on January 6th for season 6. No, it wasn't. It was, what day did I come back? The 9th. The world's catching up. Psychology Today is talking about this month. Cover story is all about finding your purpose. So a lot of these words and terms and phrases are finally finding their way into everyday narratives, and I'm so excited about it. So I give people a minute to just have a personal moment, if you will, with the audience. So I'm going to dip out, and you tell them anything you want them to know that I didn't already cover, and when I come back in, we'll get started on your origin story. How's that sound?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, it's all you.
Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show today. I'm so excited and honored to be here. As Lauren mentioned, I am Taylor Proctor, and I'm an intuitive business strategist and confidence coach. And he had mentioned in my bio, COO and CMO, that stands for Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Operations Officer. And I've been in marketing, leadership, and operations for over 15 years, working with clients like Google, Johnson & Johnson, Stanford University, etc. And you would think that intuition doesn't have a place in those areas in the corporate corporate world, in leadership, in marketing, in operations, but in fact, it does. And when I finally learned how to trust my intuition, that is when the game started to change for me. So it is my purpose and mission to be able to help you do the same in your life, tap into your intuition, and help you expand your life and your business.
Very nicely done. Now, for those of you who may have not been here before, please stay out from underneath that rock, because I don't know how you don't know about Bathrobe Moments, but you do now. Listen, that bell is the bell of purpose. I ring it on purpose, with purpose, every time some truth is out there, because just like that bell, the truth has a ring to it. I know we're busy, but we can't ever get so busy that we forget about acknowledging when truth finds its way into our space. So there it is, bell of purpose. First thing I want to do, let's watch a little clip together, shall we, Taylor? About intuition. I always look for, we look for each other. I look for the content that looks for me, but something that brings it in from a little different standpoint. So today I found something on YouTube entitled, "What is Intuition?" It's very short. Let's take a look.
What is intuition?
What
Intuition
indeed?
is nothing but digested knowledge. When you have been with the knowledge for a long period of time, you have thought about it, reflected upon it, it settles into the system and becomes you. And at that, such knowledge just flashes back to us at some point. Much like an instinct, if a child runs in front of your car and you have been driving for a long time, the leg will automatically go to the brake. That kind of thing happens in intuition. You've understood something so well that now you don't need to think about it any further. It just flashes across immediately. Now, many people call all sorts of things intuition. They say, I got a dream or something. They come up with something. Now, all random thoughts are not intuition. Intuition is digested knowledge. But we're also capable of many random thoughts, and they're not intuition. So one really wonders sometimes, how do I know whether this thought that flashed upon me, was it intuition or just, any kind of random thought? So there's a good way of finding out whether this is intuition or not. Well, can't really find out, but a good indication, let us say. What is intuition? It is digested knowledge, some knowledge that has really settled into my system. Now, if a thought comes to me, a thought flashes to me, I need to ask myself this question. Is it possible that I have digested knowledge on this issue? For instance, a doctor has been practicing for many years, and somebody walks into his clinic, and he gets an intuition that this is what is wrong with this person. Then it's likely that he is right, because he has digested knowledge on that subject. Or a mother, she gets an intuition about her child, something, that he's feeling something or he's about to do something. That could be right, because she has spent years and years thinking about that child. But if you get an intuition, I think this lottery number is going to win, or this horse is going to win, then that's probably not intuition, because there's very little chance that you have any digested thought on that matter. So a good question to ask yourself, if you're wondering whether it was true intuition or not, is it likely that I have some digested knowledge in this
Do you
subject?
guys hear somebody breathing in there with her?
Working for a long period of time, I would probably get these flashes of intuition, which are inexplicable.
That cameraman has some nasal issues.
They are just the result of this digested knowledge that has been within me. But we have to be very careful and not treat every random thought flashing by that it is intuition.
Okay, great. I love that. I really did hear somebody breathing.
I don't know if it was breathing or the music occasionally, like when you have music like that, it does like the wave sounds.
Either that or her husband was filming her and fell asleep. and then woke up at the entrance. Like, did you get it? He's like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just post it for us. Right. So anyway, let's talk about
Yes.
let's go there about intuition and inside business, because business, a lot of us fancy ourselves visionaries, right? Now, a lot of people get stuck pouring all of their energies into the building of someone else's dream. And that's okay for them if that's what they truly want to manifest, as far as working for someone else. But a lot of people inside of that bubble actually have dreams, aspirations, hopes, um, of someday manifesting their own shit. You know what I mean? Pouring everything into the building of their own dreams, paying themselves retail instead of wholesale, paying themselves first instead of being what's left after we pay everything else. You know what I'm talking about? I know you guys do. Put it in the comments. I know what you're talking about. Drop it like it's hot. So, Taylor, tell us about the people that come to you. And you mentioned some pretty big brands. So, does what you do work for, is it a one size can fit all, the small, the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, the person who's trying to transition, the retiree who's starting a second career, the mom who goes back to work after raising her family? Tell us what you have for all of those people.
Absolutely. So intuition is unique to every single person. And I like to share it that it's like a fingerprint, right? So when you have your fingerprint is unique to you and your intuition is the same. So I love what the video had said, where she said it's digested information. Well, that digested information is unique to you and your experiences. And I actually believe that there's over 60, that is 60, different ways that you can receive intuition into your body, into your mind, into your life. And it's unique to you, like I said, like a fingerprint. So that being said, whether it is a leader of a international brand or a solopreneur just starting, intuition is inherent and it is a unique thing to them. And so it's all about discovering what your unique intuitive fingerprint is to help you step into that new career, step into retirement and exploring what life and purpose looks like after that, to changing the roles, to maybe leaving your career and doing something different. All of that pulls into your intuition and that deep digested knowledge, if we're going to use the terminology already mentioned, that digested knowledge that you know what's right for you. And it's just a matter of knowing how to tap in, clue into it, and trust it.
Absolutely. Now, I know I always go straight to my go-to, which is my journey, because that's the only thing I'm truly in authority on, because I've lived it, right? And what I love about intuition is, it starts off as, I got a feeling that this is a pretty great idea. Something tells me, and then when you start relating your ideas or vision to other visionaries, let me say that clearly,
That's a
because
clarification point.
you can't just run shit past any old body, because if people
Ring the
are,
bell.
you know what I'm saying? If people are Stepford humans, always looking to follow, then they're not going to get something you share with them that has no reference point because it's original and it's never been here.
Yep.
They'll go, I don't know. I don't see it. But run it past another visionary. And if you know how to use the images you see to drive the purpose of the story you're writing, people will say, oh, I can see that. That's how you know. So I say that because so many of us, tell me what you think, Taylor, but
yeah,
so many of us automatically will dismiss those feelings, those hunches. And to me, it's just like, do you dismiss when the hair stands up on your neck when you go, oh no, something tell me to stay in tonight. That weather, those clouds don't look too friendly. I got a feeling I want to stay in. And you do.
right.
And it turns out, you say, see, I knew it. So why is it we can look at weather and stuff, little things like that, but then when we have that vision of a pivot in our business or anything that has to do with bringing in that cash, oftentimes we second guess instead of following our first mind, which is connected to intuition. What do you say about that?
So I think that's societal conditioning, right? We've been conditioned, and I'm in America, right? And in public school system, you are conditioned to ask for permission, to be told what to think, how to behave, all of those things. So when we get ideas that are outside of the conditional norms, we are conditioned to go, I need to go and ask somebody else, or I need to get permission to move forward on this. And the nice thing about intuition is once you can identify how you receive intuition, and Dr. Lauren, you mentioned probably 3 or 4 different ways, right? Seeing, feeling, your body is indicating with the chills, all of those different ways that you
Yeah.
can receive intuition.
Confirmation.
Yes, it is all confirmation. And it is those moments where if you can start to lean in on the little things, like maybe I shouldn't go outside. The rain cloud's looking a little rough. Maybe let's not go on the lake today.
Right.
Then when that starts to play through and you're like, I'm really glad I didn't do that, you start to build up that trust incrementally so that when the time comes for these big ideas, you are actually able to receive them and trust them and not go out and ask permission. Or what ends up happening is we've asked for permission for so long that we go, it's just going to get shot down anyways. And I don't really want to have to ask people about this idea. I'm just going to not even mention it. And what ends up happening, and we know this, is one of 2 things. It keeps on hounding you until you actually speak it into existence.
That's true.
Right? Throw
Yep.
shop there. Or it keeps on hounding you and then eventually it goes away. And then
It'll go
we've
and
all
leave
seen
you.
this happen. Somebody else does your idea and you're like,
Somebody else does it.
that
You
was
know
not
that is so true. But before I tell you about that, let me put this down so I don't forget. Apology accepted. Because that's a good one. You're absolutely right. But also, everybody's got one of these stories. I remember
Oh,
back
yeah.
in my 20s, my friend Brenda. I love Brenda. We love going out. We go out to all these raves and stuff out in Hollywood. But she loved scooting up on married men. That was just her thing, right? And she's like, hey, come on, let's go out there. I'd be like, nope, because I'm thinking, last time your ass got drunk, started da-da-da, we ended up having to pull you off that woman or that woman off you. Nope, I'm not. Okay. 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours later, when you're sitting in the
Ew.
drunk take with Brenda's ass, she in the women's side, you over here. Some told me I knew I shouldn't have went out with Brenda, but you did. Too late. Now, you're absolutely right. In 1988, I had my first experience with NLP. And when she put me under, the practitioner, she told me a couple things. She said, see yourself in People magazine. She made that up because I was a session singer. Then she told me about getting a Grammy on the other side. And anyway, 6 weeks later, I was in People magazine. 6 weeks later. And the thing was, when I had the dream, it was a literal dream. It was a game show, Love Connection, just like the old one, but Chuck Woolery, everybody was there. But it was called Apology Accepted. And instead of voting on a date for somebody, we voted on a type of apology. Which one will bring them back together? And when I was at the end, I said, well, boy, they were ushering us out. The show was over. I said, what a great idea for a business. Who came up with this anyway? And everything in the universe whispered to me, no one, Lauren. This is for you if you want it. I sat straight up and wrote it in the dream journal she told me to keep by my bed. And 6 weeks later, 10 minutes later, I went into the dining room where there was a People magazine because she told me, pick one up on your way home. It'll reinforce the vision. And when I went out there, it was right there within reach. And I didn't even question, Taylor. I picked it up, went to the masthead on a 3x5 card and pencil. I wrote to the editor and I said, I just had a dream that I'm going to have a business called Apology Accepted, and it's going to show people how to apologize when they can't or won't for whatever reason. Here's my phone number. I think you should call me. And I put a 10-cent stamp on it, and I swear for everything I love. 1 week to the day, that editor was on my phone, and that magazine is hanging on my wall, not 10 feet from here. So I'm telling you, yeah, and then I had 119 letters over the next year because there was no internet. In 1988, and I promise you, there were 4 letters. I'll never forget it. One said, I had that idea in 1947. Another one said, I had that idea in 1954. I had that idea in 1970. There was one for 4 decades, and there I was in the 80s. And at first, I wanted to say, yeah, right. Sure, you had the, but then I thought, wait a minute. And that's what it was. They had it, but they didn't do anything with it. And it got back in the hopper, came out on my conveyor belt to see if I would choose to do
Yep.
something with it. So talk about that piece.
Yeah.
Choice. Because what word do we always hear connected to instincts? Trust your instincts. Talk about that.
So there's a couple of components of this that I love. First off, Elizabeth Gilbert shares and speaks about in her book, Big Magic, the energy of ideas, and that an idea is an energetic, I'm going to say being, if you will, that will go from person to person to help them execute and
Absolutely.
implement that idea. So the fact that people had it for several decades and it went to one person, then another, it had to come and find you, and it was unique for you. And I love that coming up there, embracing the unseen. Absolutely. The other thing that I love about this is when you can trust and take those actions, it is like a ladder. So often we think, oh, I have this intuitive hit, and I'm going to call it intuitional, which I know is not a word, but for some reason that always comes out. So your intuitive hit, your intuitional hit.
Wait, I want to just tell you, it can be a word. Listen, not all words have been invented yet. How you think the other ones got here, Taylor? So yeah, use that. That's a Taylorism.
That's a Taylorism. So
Come on with it.
your intuitional hits. So what happens is we think I have an intuition, I have this big thing on the other side. Absolutely. But the way to get there is to follow the small intuitional hits that come and tap into you. For example, pick up the People magazine. Perfect. Send a postcard. Perfect. There's actions that come into it that are intuitive actions, inspired actions that help that intuition, that dream come into being. And the most important part that I want to point out here is that when you can trust your intuition, it doesn't take years.
Nope.
How many times have somebody said, oh, I have this idea and I didn't trust it, and and I've been thinking about this for 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, and I can just never seem to get it to go. That's because you're not trusting the intuition. You're letting all these other things come in. When you trust it, within a week, you're on the phone with the editor of People magazine. Within 6 weeks, you're on the cover of the magazine, right? The timelines just speed up to you because you're
Law of attraction.
Taking that action. Yes.
When you reach for things, they reach back.
Yes.
Within purpose. Just like that infinity symbol. The circle never ends. The process continues. And I just want to say, you guys, I love it. Intuitional hits.
Yep.
Are so very crucial. And the thing, and you won't embrace them if you chalk things in your life, those promptings, up as coincidence. See, I don't believe in words that deceive. They groom you out of legacy.
Ooh.
That could have happened to anybody. Out of the blue, out of nowhere. Whatever. Because when whatever we mean becomes meaningful through manifestation. And that goes negative and positive. If you mean it, I hope that bitch get a flat tire. It may not be specific, but you have manifested. It is the spirit in which you create. It is the moral of the story, the motive, the intention. So let's talk about intentions.
Yes.
Because you get a lot of people, I'm sure, who come and say, well, my intention is, or my goal is, I like to set goals and forget about them because I have to come back and pour everything into the process. How do you help people get out of their own way? You know how it is. You can't just keep talking about what you're going to do and think that you're doing shit.
Yeah. So the very first thing that I like to do when someone comes to me and says, this is what I'm going to do, is I ask them, what's the large vision for it? Because what ends up happening, and you even spoke about this vision, speak to the visionaries. They can see the long pathway down the road. And if that is a strong enough vision and a strong enough why, then we can break through the beliefs and all these things that may be keeping them stuck. The societal conditioning, if you will, that's keeping them stuck from taking the action steps, the ladder approach to get to that large vision. So the first question is what is the overall vision? Then what is your next inspired action step? Not what is the 10 steps I have to do? What is your next inspired action step? And that's an intuitive hit that comes in, right? And then you do that within 24 hours. And then what's the next action step? And you can just focus on that a few at a time. And then being hyper aware, And this is my job as a coach to be able to ask these questions and say, okay, so what resistance are you feeling? What thoughts or beliefs are coming up when you think about that inspired action step? And it's funny, I actually have a story about a crazy ass inspiration action step that was like, what? So I had wanted to grow in my business, and I have this exercise where I do some clearings, I do a belief breakthrough, and then I'm like, okay, what's my action step to sink in my new beliefs and help me reach that overall vision? And one of the things that came up, and it's also important to know, it's always clear and concise. It's never rambling.
Right.
It's never any of these things. That's your brain getting in the way.
Thank you.
It's clear, it's concise. So
go on. And I'm coming back to that one, clear and concise. Okay, go ahead.
So the note that I wrote down, I, channeled being like, okay, what's my next inspired intuitive action step? And it was throw away that plant. Now you can see I have a great big plant behind me. I have over 50 house plants. And at the time I was living in a place where the light was not great. And so I had several plants like shoved up against the window, trying to get everything I could while we were waiting for a house to be built.
Okay.
And I had a plant that was struggling. Wasn't like I have a couple of plants that are hundreds of years old, passed down generationally. Yep. This was not one of those. And it would go back and forth. It would be thriving and then it would struggle, and then it'd be thriving, then it would struggle. And I have
one of those.
Yeah.
Right now.
So here's the thing. I was constantly thinking, as a way of procrastination as well, but I was constantly thinking, okay, I've got to water that plant. Okay, I've got to move it. What's going on with it? Do I need to change the soil? Do I need to fertilize it? Do I need to trim? Do I need to take the roots out and make sure I don't have root rot? Like all of these things. And the action step was throw out the damn plant. It wasn't providing any value to me, right? And I'm not one that's like just chuck stuff out, but I was like, oh, inspired
not everything is savable.
Yeah. And so it was like, how much time and effort and energy was I putting towards trying to save this plant that had no real meaning to me? It had done it's provided its purpose, and it's time for me to move on and for it to move on.
No longer serving you.
Exactly. And
exactly right.
As soon as I got rid of it, the energy cleared.
See?
Next step came, and we were off to the races. See? And it was like, that is the most random action item. You think it would have to do with business. You think it would have to do with making a phone call to that person or sending an email or any of those things. No. An intuitional action step can be anything that you need to do to clear the way for your vision and for you to take action towards it.
Absolutely right. Clear and concise.
Yes.
And let's go back to that intersection. And I agree with everything that just came out of your mouth, every single piece of it. I'm telling you guys, seriously, I'm not just saying that. She's spot on. She is spot on. And there it is. And I'm gonna tell you this too. She didn't learn that in a book. She didn't order it on eBay, and it wasn't some whispered conspiracy theory that she heard through the grapevine. It was not rumor. It was not innuendo. It is the truth, and it is found within purpose, on purpose, and then you use. Taylor.
Everything just froze on my end.
Are you there? There you are.
There you are. Hi. It all just froze. I'm so sorry. But that just means energetics are coming into play here, that we're speaking truth.
It's on my end, Taylor. It's not you.
Oh, okay.
And everybody knows Comcast does this shit every morning, right? At some point. But you get a lot of money off your bill if you keep track of it and call in.
Oh,
right. $60, $80 a month they take off my bill, so I can deal with it. But listen, clear and concise.
Yes.
Is trying to keep this. See, I look at it like this. That's something this is a humdinger coming, y'all, a mic drop moment. That's why it's trying to stop me from getting it out there. So hang on there. Listen, here it is. When I ask somebody, and I'm intrigued, my instincts are on high alert. There's something about this person. And I go, tell me what's your passion, or tell me what you do. What have you chosen to do to be of service to the world in this journey? I'm really totally vested and interested. And then they go on and on and on and on, and I still don't know anything at the end of it. They don't know how to express it. A lot of people don't know how to get to it. The truth requires few words. Why is it we find so many people? I was there, and I just cut to the chase. Let somebody ask me now, what do you do for a living? I'm an influencer. I don't wait till the world tells me you got to have this many views or whatever. My goal cast has 40 million. Soon as it hit that mark, I said, I'm an influencer. I'll need it more than once. If you have more than one person in your life that is listening on a consistent basis, you're an influencer.
Yes.
And so I say all that to say this. I started telling this, well, what do you do through your influence? I improve lifestyles and I save lives for a living. That's what I do. How about you?
I love that.
Because now they're looking past. Well, and they always go, a lot of them go to this. Well, I'm just, because what they just heard, they feel is out of reach for them or something. That it has none of that essence is obvious on them. And it breaks my heart. So talk about what you do in your work that helps people believe their way into seeing a little bit of what we see.
Yeah. So my purpose is congruent transformational impact. What that is you need to be in alignment. You need to be congruent with who you are, with your intuition, with all of those things to be able to experience real, full, positive transformation. When you can experience congruent transformation, the impact is a natural component, right? You now have an impact not only on your own life and those around you, but on the world because you're making aligned decisions that are transforming your life and then making that impact. So for me, I am all about congruent transformational impact for myself and helping others find it for them. And what that is where self-trust is foundational. You have to have that foundation of self-trust to have congruent transformation.
Exactly. Or you're going to be building your house upon the sand. You're going to be the, house made out of sticks, all those things. Because listen, intuition and trust in my world, they provide support beams underneath all my hopes, dreams, aspirations, and visions. That's it. They put support beams so that I can start building that foundation that you just spoke of, because not all of my entry level points to my dreams are on the ground floor. Sometimes they need to go up. You go up to this level. There aren't stairs. You see what I'm saying? You don't enter off the ground. You have to go up to it, and they just keep getting built. So you need that support, which is also, now what about this? What about the influence around you? When you know what I'm saying? Your instincts mean nothing if you're around people who are not purposeful. You know what I'm saying? Energy suckers, people that, you know what I'm saying? It's like the circle around you, the light circle around you and your closest is like Morse code. It's not complete connected. It's not connection. Talk about that. Do you find sometimes that as business owners, we're just in there, we're doing business with people or things that we ain't got no business doing business with? Like grandmama used to say, all money ain't good money.
Preach.
What about that? Knowing what to get rid of, when to hold them, when to fold them. What about that?
Absolutely. I think that comes back to intuition as well. You know, in one of the 60 ways, and I'm going to say for many people, it ends up being their gut. Like you get that gut feeling in your stomach of something's not quite right with this person, or this doesn't feel quite right, but I'm going to do it anyways because I need the money or I need these things. And that's where the congruency comes in. You have to be in alignment to then know that I can pass on the $10,000 from this client because it does not feel right. And I can trust myself and the universe, divine, higher power, highest self, whatever you want to call it. I can trust that I can pass up this $10,000 And I know I'm going to get triple that if I am congruent and I am focusing on making sure that I'm in alignment with my life, my values, my purpose, what I'm here to do. And I'm interacting with people who can support and be supported by that. And it
Absolutely.
really comes down to, everything comes down to that foundation of self-trust and that, I'm going to say this, invocation of your excellence. Everyone has excellence within them.
Amen.
It's a matter of inviting it. It's an invocation, not invitation, invocation.
Invocation. Absolutely.
You pray it, right? You allow it to happen and introduce and come before you. That excellence precedes you. And then that level of self-trust comes in, and then that congruent transformational alignment really makes that impact. And that's the thing, is when you have that foundation of self-trust, when you can step into and invoke that excellence that is natural within you, that is when you can have the guts to say, this doesn't feel right, I'm out.
Right.
That's when you can say, hey, I love you. I think this is great for you. This is no longer congruent with the direction I'm going. I wish you all the best. I'm going to fade myself out of your life because this isn't working anymore.
This isn't working. It no longer serves me.
Right.
And things that do not serve us must go, because the longer we allow them to parade around inside of our world, we give them the more time that they need to trick us into serving them.
Absolutely.
And so I want to say this. We're going to go to break real quick and pop back in. We've got about 10 minutes left, so that's a lot more show in front of us. Good time to share out the broadcast if you have not already. And when we return, I'd like to ask you, so you can think about it now, Taylor, inside of corporate America, what has it felt like from your vantage point as, you know, back when you first started and how it is today, as far as incorporating these woo-woo-ish words, in alignment, higher power, universe, all these things that we used to, a lot of us kept in the shadows before. It was like a double life, a secret life. And now we're becoming and finding and proclaiming that we will boldly go no matter what. It's very important, and we're going to talk about it when we return. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a comfortable, creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. My guest today is Taylor Proctor. Welcome back, Taylor.
Thank you.
Before the break, I kind of gave you a heads up on where I wanted to head this last realm of the block. And you're in corporate America. You work with some Fortune 100, 500 companies. What do you attribute this mindset change, this awakening, if you will, that's happening across the board in the world of business and commerce? It never used to be. People kept it in the secrets, secreted it away. But now people are becoming more and more bold, more empowered about what matters in their lives and taking it to work with them. Do you think this has a lot to do with COVID, or were you seeing this prior to?
Oh, definitely seeing it prior to. I think that it's been opened up a lot more because people have worked from their homes as an actual option. And so you're more in alignment with who you are when you're not influenced by, I've run from meeting to meeting to meeting, and that has opened up the door even further. But I do believe that it did happen and was happening before.
Good.
For myself, I've led international teams, and when I did that, I definitely leaned into my intuition and would say, how does this align with our values? Does this make sense? And I would ask these questions almost rhetorically because I would know the answer.
Right.
I actually have a story of not following that gut check intuition for myself and really kicking myself in the end, wishing I had. I had a colleague say, a peer say, we need to do something this way. And it had to do with setting some, not setting standards, but setting some goals and then performance stuff based on those goals. And so it was very much this like enticement to do the job. And it was a very creative role for my team, which studies have found that creative roles do not do well in a templated incentivized space because
Right.
it cuts out all the creativity.
Exactly.
And I knew that. And I felt it like full body, like, nope, we're not doing that. And she continued to bring it up and say, I think we should try it. I think we should do it. And I was like,
let it go.
And I started to second guess myself. And it was like, maybe she's right. Maybe this is something we can do. So I was like, cool, we'll try it. We'll test it. And business is all testing. That makes sense. So I'm like, yeah, cool. We'll try it. We'll test it. We almost lost the client because the client was unhappy with the work. And we had to do a complete overhaul and reset of trying to get everybody back to where they were before on the team. And now imagine this with a 30-person team. Like,
wow.
In 3 months, everything just crashed. And I was like, I knew better. And I didn't feel like I had the resources to be able to say, look, I just know in my gut that this isn't right. And I was the department leader and I didn't trust that enough. And that was an interaction though that really helped me. And through example, it helps everyone that I interact with to go, you know what, this doesn't feel quite right. Can we use corporate terms here? Can we circle back to this at a different time and see if it feels more in alignment then? Or otherwise, hey, as the leader here, I'm going to make the call. And I may not have all of the statistics and everything to back it up, but my gut says this is not the right direction for us to go. And I'm going to do what's going to be best for me and my team.
There you go. And see, this really ties into what the bell, because truth, see, when we get up and we're seeking the truth every day, blindly, eyes wide open, however you're seeking, just seek the truth. Even when you can't see it or feel it, you can hear it. Somehow it will find you. And that is through instinct. And when we don't, we now are in the only thing that can be after, because you only need to hear the truth, feel the truth, experience the truth once, because it's never going to change. It's the only thing in the universe that never changes. It never changes on us. So when we don't follow through, we are in the second category, which is all there is left, which is called second guessing. And I don't think any legend in history guessed their way to that place. And so you're right on point. So how do people get started with you, and how do they know there's a need to get started with you?
Absolutely. So I have something that I offer, which is called Intuitive Strengths Business Blueprints. As I've mentioned, there are over 60 different ways that you can receive intuition and intuitive hits. And so it's incredibly important to know how you receive intuition, because we've all had coaches that are like, oh, I got full body tingles, or this happened. And you're like, well, I don't ever feel that. Maybe I'm not intuitive. Bullshit. You are intuitive. It's just finding the way that intuition works through you.
That fingerprint, which is your unique barometer, if you will. Okay, keep going.
So I offer Intuitive Strengths Business Blueprints, which is your top intuitive strengths out of the 60 in key definitive areas in business. For example, wealth calibration. Who doesn't want to calibrate to wealth, right?
Exactly.
You'll have so many people say, oh, just do this, just do this. And if you know how your intuition comes to you, you can know that's not the one. Maybe that's something to try. Or you'll get an idea that comes to you that's information digested, going all the way back to the beginning here, that you will know and be able to trust and take action on and actually calibrate to wealth. Business strategy, marketing, showing up as your authentic self. I'm going to share a brief example here, but for me, my top intuitive strength for being my most authentic self is adventure. So if it feels exciting, like I'm crossing the threshold of adventure, like this is an amazing opportunity, experience, and I get that like, ooh, this sense of adventure, I then know that this is the right path for me as I am stepping fully into myself. If I feel sluggish, lackluster, a sense of anxiety of like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this. I feel pressured to do it. That is not, and even you just notice my whole body language changed.
Changed.
That is not a sense of adventure. Stepping forward into a sense of adventure is how I show up as my most authentic self. And I
That's
know
right.
that that's how my intuition works through me in that area.
That's right.
So Blueprint helps you identify those areas, what that strength is, the intensity you use it, the frequency you use it, how you use it, how to expand it, and when to use it in your business. And so I would say that is the very first place to start, because
That's it.
when you have that, everything else falls in place. And I know we're coming up on time here, but I really want to share quickly. I have a method called IMOVE, which stands for intuition, marketing, operations, velocity, and execution. And without the I in front of the move, we're blindly following marketing advice from all these people that's not congruent. It's not in alignment with who we are and who our business is, right? The energy of our business. So then operations flounder, there's no momentum gained, and it's incredibly difficult to execute. Now, if you put the intuition in front of that and you make aligned decisions based off your intuition, and you trust that and you trust yourself and you invoke that excellence, the marketing flows easily. The operations come into place. You start to gain velocity and you're able to execute with quickness and ease. So the very first place to start is to understand and know how you receive intuition so that you can start that journey in that path of self-trust, self-love, and trusting that everything works out in your highest favor, because you are congruent, you are transforming your life, and you are making an impact.
Absolutely right. Definitely very clear that Taylor, your work as well as yourself, of course, are both anointed experiences. And I'm looking all of you in the eye when I say that. So you know it's not some sales technique or a ploy. There's never an angle within purpose. It's completely transparent. As we get out of here, I want to leave you with something. Another reason, you know, Taylor is the real deal is because within purpose, the inventory process begins with identifying your blessings, your gifts. In other words, what you already have, not what you need. And I, as the man behind the curtain, the wizard, of course, there is no Oz. The Oz is you. It is you. So just remember, when people that you want to work with show you what you have first, you're already on your way to being a great steward. The universe won't bring you dollars and beyond if you're not doing shit with the pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters you already have. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Y'all, thank you, Taylor. Everything there, taylorproctor.com is the place. Facebook is not only in the show notes, but I've dropped it at the top of the thread in your comments for easy use after today's show concludes. Listen, I want to thank you again, Taylor. Stick backstage. I got a question for you real quick if you got a moment. And listen, you all, I'll see you tomorrow morning, God willing, out front, 8 a.m. on the front porch, where together we fulfill that greatest promise of all, that where two of us comes together, magic is the result. I'll see you tomorrow. Be the blessing you'd like to see in the world. Bye-bye.